Good morning, India. Welcome to the magic of communication skills with David and Maggie. I hope you're listening in and having a fantastic day out there today. Thank you, viewers, for your wonderful support and the many emails we receive daily asking us to address your communication skill opportunities and barriers. We have with us on our show's expert in communication skills, and he is none other than our communication magician, David Conrad Linus. Let's invite him with applause.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, David. How are you doing today?
Very well indeed. How are you?
Great. So welcome once again, and let's begin today's communication magic with David. We're going to be discussing David's signature program called the 11 Habits of Highly Successful Public Speakers that he conducts at various locations across India. And with that in mind, our series over the next week. David, take us through the program's objectives and description, please.
Right, absolutely, Maggie. So how are you today?
Very, very well.
I just love your shows, don't I?
Well, do you have an option?
Well, good. Anyway, the 11 Habits is really about a sequence of habits that a person can go through from habit 1 right up to habit 11.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the 11 habits, it's constructed, it's built in such a way that it allows a person from the moment he says hello right up to that point where he's so convincing that it almost becomes a belief in other people. And that's really the 11 Habits. That's really what 11 Habits is all about.
Okay.
It's amazing, it's intriguing, it's wonderful. And the reason why it's becoming so popular across the country, is because the habits are very self-mastering. And over a period of time, you arrive at an ability, or you arrive at a position where you can identify, correct, and realign your communication style, personality and character so that you become effective and impactful.
So you're saying that 11 Habits is a self-mastering approach or tool to becoming a better public speaker?
Absolutely. Now what I'm trying to say here is that public speaking, like any other skill, is an activity. And if you look at it, if it is an activity, you need to practice it. You need to exercise it. And you need to exercise certain aspects of that activity that make you most skillful. And similarly with becoming a public speaker, what I've put together or constructed or designed or laid out as 11 habits are really those components of the activity public speaking that eventually, when you exercise it and practice it, you become a better speaker and a communicator.
How many days should one practice regularly to reach a level of identifiable change, these 11 habits?
Well, I'd say between any time between 45 and 60 days is a decent amount of time before you could, safely, identify a change in the way you communicate today versus in the way you communicated, say, 45 or 60 days earlier. So, yeah, 45 or 60 days, yes.
How many hours a day?
Well, you could go between half an hour to 45 minutes on a daily basis, and reach that particular stage where you can identify a change in you that you've arrived at a possible space and time around communication today versus who you were or what your abilities were, say 45 or 30 days or 60 days ago.
Listening to you and hearing you speak about the 11 habits, are these 11 habits in isolation or are they consecutive series, one into the next, leading one into the next? Well,
if you look at you can look at it both ways, Maggie. Some of the habits, in fact, all habits are singularly a capsule by on its own. And if you look at it the other way, it's really these habits that lead into the other. So, for example, the first habit is about seek to express yourself properly, which means when you first go and meet somebody, the first thing you do is express yourself by saying hello or greet.
True.
And the manner in which you do that will really reflect or follow through with how you seek to engage in conversations. How do you engage in a conversation or in a communication with somebody?
True.
Well, but there are certain aspects in people, in all of us, where we are either strong on a particular habit or weak on a particular habit. So if we are weak on a particular habit and we see that we can bring in some change or develop that particular habit, then, for example, if my greetings were extremely weak, then I'd singularly or particularly work only on strengthening my greeting habits or my expression habits, and build that so that it's proportionately aligned to all the other habits that are required to be a great public speaker.
Great, great. And the 11 Habits, this program, are you targeting a specific audience, or is it universally applicable to all people?
Well, well, communication is such, Maggie, you know what? You can't say that it's singular. You know, you can't say communication is singular to an audience. Not at all. It's universal. You know, you could you know, use it anywhere, anytime. And the 11 Habits is not something that is only focused for the business audience, not at all. It's also applicable for families, for social situations, for social settings, for schools, for children, for anybody. It's really the ability to communicate, you know. Public speaking doesn't necessarily mean you're standing standing on a stage, addressing an audience of 20 or 25 or 100 people, 10,000 people possibly. No, it's the ability to communicate with people, with the public, and that public could be one person or 10,000 people, you know. And the manner in which you do really would describe eventually the style that you develop to be, you know, develop as a public speaker, or you become known as a public speaker, or as a speaker, you know. Well, you could use these terms interchangeably, but the idea, the bottom line is really to be effective communicators or speakers.
I see. David, when you say that this program is self-mastering, do you mean to say that a particular person who's practicing these 11 habits does not need a coach or a guide or an instructor or mentor?
No, not at all. In fact, it's very important to understand that, you know, you can't. It's like, you know, it's like driving. I mean, it's like driving. Initially, you need an instructor to instruct you on as to how to drive. You know, but all instructors don't become Formula 1 drivers.
True.
Right? But at the same time, all drivers need somebody to coach them to become a Formula 1 driver. After a certain after a certain time, you know, you develop yourself personally. There's a personal development that happens, and you, after knowing certain things, are able to determine or diagnose those areas where you can self-develop.
Mm-hmm.
But to continue being on that path, you need an observer. You need somebody to coach you through that particular phrase, help you correct or realign those very, very subtle errors or challenges that you might actually be experiencing, but you can't observe it personally because, you know, it's not known to you.
You can never correct yourself if you
Absolutely.
know what you're doing wrong. Yes.
But a good coach, or in fact a coach, you know, who observes you from the outside, will be able to address those very, very fine things that, you know, normal people won't be able to see it, but they'll be able to see it and catch that for you, and give you an opportunity to make a correction or realign that particular area.
Great. I thank you, David, for the great insight into your program today.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that has taught us a lot about communication skills, and also dealt with the questions that I had about communication skills. Wrapping up the segment today, I'd like to say, let me summarize by saying that the key to communication skills and perfecting yourself to become better public speakers is really rigorous and dedicated practice and working with a good coach.
Absolutely, Maggie.
Yes. I thank you, viewers, for your time today. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that you can reach out to us with your questions and comments, and the details displayed on your screen right now. Remember to tune in tomorrow for some more communication magic. See you then. Bye-bye.